Hey there, I am Crystal Sale. So, I am a chiropractor, a chemist, and a born again Christian. I have been spending the last 7 years of my life awakening in this little matrix and trying to follow God's call in my life. Now, if from all of that it wasn't completely obvious, I am a die-hard science nerd and a lover of learning. And for whatever reason, God has called me to pull those two pieces of myself together and completely change things up on my channel here. And honestly, like normally, I would completely ask a million questions and need to know all the whys and the whats and like where this is going and all of that. But if you know God, like he doesn't mess around. Like you just do what he says. You don't ask questions. So here I am. And so let's just kind of dive right into the topic today, because here's the thing is what I've just really been surrounded with is that most people are not paying attention. Most people are not awake and following what's really happening. But the people that are will tell you that we are most definitely in the end times. Things are falling into place. And I totally understand because, people have been saying it for years. It's the end times, the world's going to end, and it's wars, it's rumor of wars, it's the earthquakes and natural disasters and the lawlessness and the moral decay. It's declining massively, especially now. It's just I've never seen anything so bad in my life. And so, but those are all things and reasons why people have said in the past that it's the end times. But the problem is they're trying to kind of like smush it into like what the prophecy actually is, what the Bible actually says, and it doesn't fit. And the biggest problem of why it hasn't fit is because of the image of the beast and the mark of the beast in Revelation. Those just have not been possible. And so let's go to Revelation chapter 13 and see what exactly it says. Like, what exactly are we talking about here? So in chapter 13, verse 15, it says, and in here, he being the second beast that does the signs and wonders and gets all of the people to worship the first beast. So that's he in this verse. He was granted power to give breath to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. So I just want to stop there for a second, because that's the first thing, giving breath to an image. Like that was complete sci-fi, up until this point. And now it's everywhere. Images are seeming real. They're talking. It looks so real. And so that's not so far-fetched at this point. But how would you get everyone to worship this image, but you're getting killed for not worshiping this image? I mean, how do they know? Like, that's some serious surveillance that needs to happen. And so that's kind of where it's like, okay, well, let's go on. Verse 16, where it says, he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So, this is kind of crazy, right? We're still kind of like, I don't know. Well, let me tell you guys, this is why we're here today, because this technology, it's here. So we are going to deep dive into this one today. I'm going to go give you all the details, so stick around. But I just want to say that this stuff, this is the stuff that I love digging into. I love doing like the research and finding the connections. I love learning. I am really passionate about the truth and about sharing the truth, especially about things like this, where I think people need to know. I think wisdom is power. And so I really am following God's call in this one to switch up the channel and dig into more things like this. But at the same time, I really don't know what that looks like at this point. I'm kind of following God's lead on this. I don't really know where I'm going, but I'm thinking things like this, spiritual. I'm thinking maybe conspiracy theory kind of stuff, science, health, anything like that. Is where what I'm going for, I believe. And so if you have a topic that you want me to dig into, please drop it in the comments and let me know, and it might be the focus of a future episode, so I would really appreciate that. But let's just dive in. Let's get into this, because this is like scary but yeah, kind of exciting kind of stuff. So the beast system, right? Could this be a reality? Well, let me tell you, Microsoft has a patent. They have a patent out for a cryptocurrency system that utilizes body activity data. Okay, what does that mean? Well, essentially, this is technology that allows a person to earn cryptocurrency by doing a task that involves either mental or physical activity. Okay, so basically what happens is there's a server, and that server sends a task to a person's device. So let's say like their watch, and like an iPhone watch or their phone, anything like that, some kind of device that the person has. And then that device has sensors that track what the person is doing. So they're tracking movement, they're tracking heart rate, they're tracking brain activity. And then the system, it's got parameters that you have to match with. And so that system is checking to see if the person's activity meets those requirements. And then if it does, then it gets that person gets rewarded with cryptocurrency. So sounds maybe benign, without context. Maybe it sounds benign. And essentially, this patent is claiming that this is really just making the mining process of cryptocurrency easier. So instead of solving some crazy math problem or whatever you have to, I don't even know what you have to do to mine cryptocurrency, but I imagine you have to be, some kind of, you have to know, right? You have to know the process. You have to know what you're doing. And most of us don't. And so this is just making it super easy to mine cryptocurrency. And so it doesn't seem so bad. It seems maybe kind of harmless. Well, as we dive in, the sensor, so remember that sensor is tracking your body activity. And that sensor is things like brainwave monitors, it's heart rate trackers, heat sensors, cameras. It could even be machines that track blood flow in the brain. And so that's like an fMRI scanner. So basically what an fMRI scanner does is it checks how blood moves in the brain to see which parts of the brain are active. So let me give you some great examples here, right? So if you're feeling very emotional, your emotions are high, your amygdala is going to light up. If you are, remembering something, your hippocampus, that's going to light up. So depending on what you're doing, different parts of the brain. Well, if you are lying, if you are actively trying to come up with a lie, your prefrontal cortex is going to light up because that's where your cognitive control centers are. On the other hand, let's say you're worshiping. A lot of times your reward centers of the brain, where your nucleus accumbens, which is your reward center, while you're worshiping, that becomes active. So it's going to know how you feel about what you're doing. It's going to know if you are enjoying what you're doing, the task, or if you are trying to lie about the task. It's going to know. And so what could these tasks be? What are examples of things that it's going to have you do? Well, the patent gives you options like watching or listening to something like an ad, using online services, so maybe using a search engine, using a chat bot, email, social media, something like that. It may have you upload information into a website or a cloud service. So, any kind of online activity that could affect how a person thinks, feels, and behaves could be the task. And then that task that you perform gets recorded as a transaction into a ledger. And you are either rewarded or not. And then this other one, I just, it's like these alarm bells start going off as you get deeper and deeper into it. So essentially, it's basically going to give you a challenge to solve through interaction with one or more images. So it's going to see if you were human or not. It's like that CAPTCHA test where you have to click on pictures of, the traffic lights or whatever. And so your interaction with those images, it's having you look at an image. And once you start or complete the task, those sensors track how your body reacts to it. So that's going to look like things like brain activity, blood flow, body heat, pulse, brain waves, physical actions like moving your eyes and your face. It's going to know all of that stuff. And so basically, you're going to have to complete a task or a challenge with an image. I don't know, potentially maybe worshiping that image. Who knows? And that sensor is going to send information about your reactions and your thoughts of that challenge or task, and it's going to send it back to the server. So it's going to know exactly how you feel about the action that you're taking. And it's going to know if you're lying or not. Okay, so maybe you're thinking, well, let's put it in like a computer or something. Like, I'm not doing it. Like, it's not going to go in me. I'm going to make like some robot do it, right? Wrong. So here's where it is. The system, it is wildly smart, and it doesn't want to reward fake activity, because you don't want to hook it up and somebody just starts taking all this money for watching an ad, right? We want to make sure that it's a real person doing it. And so it's going to know if someone's faking it or if they're using a computer to cheat. And basically AI it's using AI to learn what real human reactions look like for that task. So there's a specific task, and it knows what's a real human reaction going to be for that task. So they're using things like generative adversarial networks to simulate tons of realistic human responses. And then that system defines what counts as a valid body reaction. So basically, AI is going to generate just what it thinks a real human reaction is going to be. And so it's just going to make a ton of simulations. And so it has comparison to what does an AI, like a computer generated reaction, versus a real actual human's reaction. So you're not going to be able to fake it. Essentially, you are not going to be able to put it off on a computer. It's going to have to be a real person. It's going to know what specifically what the parameters are of that reaction that they want. And they're going to know if it's outside of those parameters, even if it's real, they're going to know. And so, I mean, maybe this seems innocent enough, but I think it just rings alarm bells for those of us that know God's word. It's just it's a little bit terrifying. But maybe you're still doubting me. Maybe you're just like, I don't know. I don't think that guy would do that stuff to us. I think he cares about us, right? Let me just remind you of Revelation chapter 13, verse 18. So it says, "Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. His number is 666." Okay. Listen, I'm not pretending to know what that means. I read that and I'm like, I don't know, is that numerology? Like, am I taking his name and calculating the numbers? Like, that's what I think. Like, I don't know. But I'm gonna tell you, I just don't believe in coincidences. I just don't. I think if there are so many things lining up that, a spade is spade, a duck, it is what it is. And so this one, this is big one, right? This is a big coincidence, and you can't deny this one. The patent number for this technology is 2020-060606. So maybe that's just a coincidence. What do you think? Is that coincidence? Is it something, we definitely need to take seriously? I would love to know your thoughts. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. It's just interesting, right? Definitely just interesting. So now it's kind of crazy to me that nobody is really talking about this. I only kind of happened to randomly come across somebody's post, and it kind of sent me down the rabbit hole. And maybe people are talking about it and just hasn't come across my path. I don't know. But it's a big deal. In my opinion, this is a big deal, and people need to know about this because we need to be waking people up. People need to start paying attention to the times that we're in. But one of the main arguments that I did see as I was doing my research that, says, oh, you're just being crazy. This is not the mark of the beast because there's no mention of a microchip. Or some people are claiming that he's talking about a microchip. He's not, right? Like, this patent does not mention a microchip in any way. It does not mention injectable technology. It's nothing like that. However, if you read the patent, the scope of the patent is not limiting, right? It says multiple times that the scope of this patent is not limiting. So if there is technology or where they have like the server to the sensor to the whatever to the person, if there's like a better system that they come up with, that does not limit, like, that is not exclusive, like, that does not get to be like somebody else's technology. No. Like, it's still included within this patent, and it's still our technology. So if something is changed up in the model or of this, then it still is included in that patent. I hope that makes sense. I'm not sure I'm explaining it very well, but you can change up like certain aspects and it still be within the scope of this patent. And so I really wanted to say, okay, well, let's look at technology. I wanted to make sure I was encompassing everything, right? And so is it possible to have technology that's implanted chips, right? And so I think at this point, everybody knows, yes, like, they've been talking about implanted chips, like, it's a thing. But I just wanted to talk about it. And again, I am not saying that this is the mode or the specific technology that will be used. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that the technology exists. And so there are many, many implanted chips. You can look them up. There's a bunch, but the one that I did want to call out was from Neuralink, which is essentially it describes as a tiny network of like specialized computer chips, and it's designed to pick up signals from the brain using electrodes. So I used ChatGPT because like some of these big terms in technology, it's over my head. I needed to understand, and so I did use ChatGPT to kind of help me break this down and understand it, and so I could explain it to you. And ChatGPT said this is basically like a mini robot army inside your head. So, so this little army is basically listening to your brain activity, and it's filtering out noise and weak signals, things like that. And it's bundling up the important stuff, like it's packaging all of the important things, and it's putting it into a message that gets handed off to an external system. Now, it's basically just saying this is making brain activity, like reading brain activity, more organized, powerful, precise. It's just helping us kind of package it better and more neatly, right? Well, in the patent itself, it does state that this is useful for controlling prosthetic limbs. That's good, that's nice. Or decoding thoughts. So yeah, I mean, that's really all I have to say about that. Decoding my thoughts. I mean, yeah, important for controlling prosthetic limbs, sure. But what else could that be used for? I don't know. Just thinking thoughts. Um, so it's wild, right? Like it's crazy what's really out there. And I just wanted to say, like, if you are still kind of doubting the times that we're in, if you're still not sure, I strongly encourage you to go check out the Jesus People podcast. I think it's episode 26. And I'll leave a link for that in the show notes because I just think it's a really great interview. It's so good. But I think his name is Ryan, and he interviewed Rion, and I'm not gonna go on the last name. I'm not even gonna try. But I'm pretty sure his name is Rion. And he basically was the former head of the Satanic Church in South Africa. And you can listen to his story. I strongly encourage that you do. But he basically saw Jesus, and he is now a Christian, and he has a whole ministry and all that stuff, and really, really awesome. But in that podcast, he was talking about how every 9 years the church, the Satanic Church, they collectively come together and they put out a 9-year agenda. And he said in like 2022 when he got out that one of the goals for 2025 was that people are going to be arrested in Europe for praying in the streets, for praying in public, for being a Christian and praying in public. And if you think that's far-fetched, I mean, that's not, right? Like, that is legit happening. You can go look at the news headlines, and that is a real thing that is happening right now in 2025. And so they've succeeded in that agenda for this year. Well, here's the kicker, right? Like 2027 is the last year that he knows about. And he says that the goal for 2027 is a one world religion. And he goes into specifics, you should watch it. But, um, you know, you ask, like, how can that happen? How could people be on board with a one world religion? Well, he says, essentially that in order for people to be on board with a one world religion, that a one world currency is going to take effect first. A one world currency must be in place first. So they've accomplished their 2025 goal. They're on their way to 2027. It seems crazy. I mean, how could that be a possibility in 2 years? Like, that can't be real. But we know, like, it at least happens at some point. We know that it happens at some point. It's in the Bible. And so it's wild. It's absolutely wild, the times that we're in. The Everything is lining up. The technology, it's here. I mean, you believe it or not, decide what you want. The technology is here. And it's just a matter of what they decide to do with that technology. And do you really think that the people in charge are doing things in your best interest? Are they looking out for you? I throw this back to 2020, and 2020 was a test. It was a test in whether people were going to be compliant or not. And they were looking to see, they wanted to know, are people going to comply with crazy things, or are they going to protest? And a lot of people failed that test. A lot of people failed it. And that's okay. Like, it's okay, but now you have to learn from that, right? We all have to learn from that and know that, not everything that's being put out there is for our best good. And really, really pray for discernment from the Lord. Pray to know the difference. Pray to know who to listen to and what is from God and what's not. And really, understand that if something is being forced on you, if you are being forced to do something, it's probably not for your own good. Maybe, but being forced, I don't think so. And so make sure you're asking questions. Make sure you're doing your own research, and do not rely on the wisdom of the media, because they are not there for you. They are not truth. They are not honesty anymore. You don't know who to believe anymore. Like, it's crazy, but I just question everybody's motives always at this point, and it's scary. And then, no matter what, do not get that implant. Do not get the implant, because we all know, if you get that implant, where you're headed. It's written out in the Bible. If you don't know, just get in the Word. It's right there in Revelation. And so I personally think that it's absolutely undeniable that we are in the end times. I don't question it. But let me know your thoughts. I'm always open to hearing other thoughts. And I would love to hear what you think. Are we in the end times? Could this be the mark of the beast? What do you think? So let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.